Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. I will ride with this group. Seriously, man. Please. And away we go.
Yes. We have reached Offseason Blueprint 4.0. Happy Tag Day. It is franchise tag window opening day across the National Football League. Teams now have like a 2-week window to franchise tag the Sam Darnolds, the Byron Murphy Jr.'s, whoever those equivalents are on other NFL teams.
So would today be considered the soft launch, soft open for the league? Because I feel like the offseason starts in earnest at the combine, though, right? Like that's where the
it's like the underground. You're not supposed to be having in-depth conversations
but it all gets
at
out.
The combine. Yeah,
a lot of it gets out. But I'm saying it's like we're opening the football restaurant today, but it's not like the grand opening of open the doors. It's our buddies and like
friends and family. Friends and close family.
Hey, let's play tag. But then next week it's just on, and then in March it's just takes off.
So yeah, and I every year it's fun here on Purple Daily. You guys maybe have started listening to or watching the show at different times. Some people have been around hanging out with us for years on the show. Maybe you just discovered the show in week 10 or something this year. And every year it's fun to bring fans along that ordinarily have stopped paying attention once the Vikings are eliminated or once the Super Bowl's over. But as we tell you guys every year, the end of the Super Bowl season is the beginning of the silly season, the roster building season. And oftentimes, like Purple Daily's biggest audience numbers are in March because it's all about building your team and free agency. So every day we are your home for if there's news, if there's rumors, if you guys have tips from your third cousin who has a brother whose friend works in the Seahawks front office and heard something, send them to the show. We are the central hub for off-season Vikings roster discussions right here.
I find that some of our best tips come from Iowa Vikings fans who like have a friend who goes into the come and go store, and they hear the parents of some rando guard talking like as they're buying their beer, and they're
James
like
Daniels
and they're like, James really wants to go home. James really wants to go home. I don't know about the Vikings though. And then that person runs to their friend who's a PD fan and sends us a note. So like Iowa is just right for the reckless speculation lifestyle.
It is great. Yes. So keep them coming. Okay, before we get to our 4.0 blueprint here, let's take the audience. It's very cold in the Twin Cities, and MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. You may need to lean on them this week.
Just check my phone out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's -9. It is -9. It is absolutely brutal outside, and that means that if something is wrong with the old furnace, guess what? You need it fixed, and you need that fixed fast. And that is where my friends at MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air come in for all of your plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain needs. 100% family-owned operated business. MSP is committed, and this is the most important thing, to taking care of you and your family. Building trust is a big part of how they do business. In other words, this is something where you don't just want to call someone and they might come over and they might delay and not. No. And MSP is going to be there. And how about this? Book a $49 plumbing inspection by Friday and enter to win 2 tickets plus a $100 gift card to the March 9th Wild Game. For service, call them 651-615-4292 or check out their website, callmsp.com. Call MSP.com. They are your friend. They will help keep your house all nice and toasty.
Also this weekend, a couple things. If you're a golfer or you're just looking for a warmish respite inside the Minneapolis Convention Center, the 2025 North American Banking Company Minnesota Golf Show is in town Friday, February 21st through Sunday, February 23rd. We are going to be there at 1:30 on Saturday doing a Purple Daily recording. John Randall, legendary Viking, is going to come hang out with us for a while, tell some stories. So we're looking forward to that. Get your tickets at mngolfshow.com. Each ticket purchased includes 10 free greens fee passes, a value of $350 when you purchase online, mngolfshow.com. And then Saturday, 1:30, come hang out with us. We'd love to see as many of you guys as possible. Okay. We will put the spreadsheet of free agency glory up on the screen here for the YouTube audience. For the audio audience, we will guide you along. So a few parameters here that we've sort of predetermined to make each one of these a little bit different. We're going to say goodbye to the Joneses on this episode. And we're going to, instead of going through like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then the draft, I think it makes more sense. It's more realistic if we kind of blend the 3 phases together like a front office might. So we'll do some cuts, extensions, restructures to start with, but we might maybe circle back and just see, do we need to clear more space because we want to sign this free agent? So we'll kind of take you through internal and external as we go along here, like actual front offices are doing between now and the end of March. We're just going to try and do it all in like an hour episode of Purple Daily. So we're going to say goodbye to Daniel Jones. Maybe he goes and signs with another team to compete for a starting job. Aaron Jones getting up there in age, looking to draft his replacement. And so we'll start with those parameters here. Okay. I filled in for you guys just on the internal side. We can come back. If we need to tap that Brian O'Neill contract, $26 million cap hit, we can save $8 million with a simple restructure. Let's leave that for now and come back to it if we need it. The other things I sort of pre-programmed in here were just, it seems like consensus every week. Josh Oliver coming back on an extension that reduces his cap hit by a few $1 million, and Josh Metellus coming back on an extension as your Swiss Army knife. We also decided to, before the show, restructure Garrett Bradbury, which is kind of a hedge, because he's got a couple void years on his contract. So we can actually take his $6 million base salary, restructure it into a signing bonus. So he gets $6 million to play this year. He's got 2 years left after this. So that signing bonus prorates over 3 years. You divide that $6 million by 3, and you spread it out over the life. So we would actually save about $1.5 million, $1.6 million in cap by restructuring Garrett Bradbury.
Okay.
So
on Metellus, I think for the sake of what we're talking about here, we should also let his contract currently ride, because he probably would be extended if the tradition keeps up. He probably would get an extension like right before training camp. So I'm not sure that gets done, because there's no like if you're going to take care of him and tell him that, then you don't need to do that now. On Oliver, I think it makes a ton of sense, because that cap number right now is not something that you want to deal with, and he deserves an extension. So I think on Metellus, we let him ride and then assume that he gets taken care of in, like, let's say late July. Totally
cool with that. Unless anyone wants to fight here, like, we've continued to cut Ed Ingram and save the $3.5 million. There's really no penalty for cutting Ed Ingram.
Yep, good with that.
I think we chill on CJ Ham and Brian O'Neill for now and see if we need to go back and tap those contracts. And same with Ty Chandler. We can go back and if we need to save another couple bucks, we can do that.
I like it.
So keep those in your back pocket. That means I also plugged in the $4 million for the first round draft pick. So we're sitting at about $52 million in cap space here. And I will put on the screen for you guys. In fact, I might bring this down to 140 here so you can see all the columns. There we go. That's a little bit better. Maybe 135. Our little spreadsheet zoom in. Okay. All right. So you guys can see everything here with the internal and external free agents. Okay. We have $52 million. All the internal guys are on the left. There's like 40 external guys on the right. So Judd, Dex, where do you guys want to start here? I did plug into just one last thing. Like some of these depth guys like Jihad Ward, Jerry Tillery, Cam Akers, Theo Jackson, Johnny Munt, Trent Sherfield. Like, you need guys on your team. Yep. I plug those guys in for like $1 million or $2 million each, so we don't have to worry about that. All right. Okay.
Dex, where do you want to start?
Let's start with the externals.
Yeah.
Because we've done the internals, and then it just let's start with the externals. Let's go get our fish, and then we'll figure out our side dishes on a later date. So let's see. Let's bring in. We've done Becton. Not that we can't bring him back this time. Have we done? I know I have been stumping for the higher price guards. Have we done the Kevin Zeitler path though, where we go with Zeitler on the 1-year plan? Have we done that one yet?
We did do Zeitler on our 1.0 before the spreadsheet of glory.
Okay.
But this is a good way to map it out. I mean, we could even literally just put some placeholders in here to see what the math looks like. So there are, for stopgap veteran 1-year solutions at right guard, Brandon Scherf is 33, still very good. Zach Martin is 34, still very good. Kevin Zeitler is 35. He's an upper Midwest kid and was with the Lions last year. Mm-hmm. You can get those guys for $6 or $7 million on a 1-year stopgap deal. Mm-hmm. I'll throw out a couple other names here. These guys both played left guard last year. Aaron Banks, who I think we signed last week in our exercise.
We did.
But a guy that we haven't really talked about much is Patrick Mekari from Baltimore. He is the ultimate. He was a very good above average left guard for the Ravens last year, but he literally has played, I think, all 5 offensive line positions. And he's played the tackle positions. He's played both guards. He's 27 years old, the ultimate Swiss Army knife, versatile offensive lineman. And while Trey Smith is the top market-setting guard at $20 to $21 million a year projection, Patrick Mekari is sitting in that $9 to $10 million a year range. So
can we get
something to consider?
So if we go with Mekari, can we go Mekari and Zeitler, for instance?
Ooh.
And then just take care of both guards. And now Brandel goes back to being a swing guy?
So let me plug these in here in the spreadsheet of glory. So it would be, and I'll remind the audience, like a $9 million. So Mekari's contract would be 3 years projected, and this is from PFF and also Spotrac provides this information. 3 years, $27 million, so $9 million a year. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that the cap hit for the first year would be $9 million. It would likely be less because you would give him a signing bonus that prorates accounting wise.
Right.
So I'm estimating some of these cap hits. We are not capologists. We are just entertainers. So if Rob Brzezinski wants to correct us on this stuff.
Don't apologize. Just go for it. You're exactly right. I love it.
So we're going to give it a $7 million cap hit there.
Okay.
And he will be the left guard. And then let's say to Dex's point, let's bring you want to do a 35-year-old Zeitler or a 33-year-old Scherf for a right guard?
Let's do Zeitler.
Okay. So we'll go Zeitler. We'll do a $5 million because we'll probably do a void year on that. Maybe like a $4 million cap hit, $2 million on that void year.
And now our guards are taken care of.
So we now have if we do this, and we can kind of workshop this and come back if needed. The ink isn't dry yet. We would have a new starting left guard in Patrick Mekari, who's 27, a new starting right guard in Kevin Zeitler, who's 35. That's a 1-year stopgap. And then Blake Brandel goes, and we've restructured Bradbury, but he now has 2 reliable, good veteran guards on either side of him. And that makes Brandel the $2.5-ish million, $3 million swing backup.
Yeah, who can play essentially every position aside from center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he definitely can play tackle as well.
And then you'd also have Walter Rouse, who you drafted last year as a backup. You would have Michael Juergens as a center guard backup.
Yep. I feel far more confident about our interior line now than I did when the show started.
Okay. Love it. So look at us, just winning.
Quasey, you're welcome.
I'm going to
just give me the blueprint.
They're like watching
guys
this.
in right there. Yeah. Oh. He's taking notes.
Collaboration.
They said Zeitler? Okay, Zeitler. It's Zeitler.
So, okay. Mm-hmm. I would say we either let's stick with the externals here.
Okay.
And internally, the biggest ones we have to go back and address are Byron Murphy Jr. and Cam Bynum. But I think we keep with the trenches. Like the trenches are the thing that is preventing the Vikings from being on that next level, right?
Yep.
So interior defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. There's a few really interesting guys on the board here. The top guys on the menu are Osa Odigizua, right? Odigizua from Dallas.
Yeah, that's perfect.
He is one of the best pressure defensive interior guys in the NFL. His sack totals don't quite match the pressure productivity.
Yep.
But he had 60 pressures last season. He is a B-gap guy who can also rush outside.
Football.
Yeah.
So he's a 3-4 dream.
I mean, he would be him and Milton Williams, I think. And now Milton Williams, correct me if I'm wrong, Philly plays more of a 4-down lineman front.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a different system.
Yes. And he was not.
But Mike Zimmer does too in Dallas with Osa. So
yeah. And Milton was not necessarily featured. Like, so he's going to be looking for two things, I think. A big payday and a featured role, a starring role, right?
Yeah.
Milton really intrigues me. The more I look at him, the more intrigued I get by his possibilities.
He carved up the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. 49 pressures last year, 36 hurries as a rotational guy.
Rotational, right.
And you can see on the screen here, PFF says he's already a candidate for biggest riser on the free agency list. So he's a dude.
He's young.
What's his projected deal?
Both of those guys are looking at $21 million a year. Osa looking at 4 years with $42 million guaranteed. Milton 3 years, $37 million guaranteed. Three other guys that are going to be less expensive, but also effective, more effective than like Jerry Tillery, Jonathan Bullard have been in that role for the Vikings.
Okay.
Javon Kinlaw was a former first-round pick, right, by the 49ers, and then he went to the Jets. Yeah, he was the 14th overall pick. Mm-hmm. He has 65 pressures over the last couple seasons as a part-timer. He's going to come in projected less than $10 million a year, so probably less than half of what the top two guys on the market are going to be getting. Just an interesting guy to watch. And then Levi Onwuzurike, who we did sign in either 3.0 or 2.0 from the Lions. You may remember him from pressuring Sam Darnold 9 times in Week 18, former second-round pick. So it's basically, I think the question here is, do we spend $21 million a year on one of the top dudes in the trenches, or do we spend a little less and try to bring back Byron Murphy Jr. and Cam Bynum? Because I think we could go, just to plug in some stuff here. Let's say we brought back Byron Murphy Jr. Let's say we transition tag him at $17 million. We come to terms on a long-term extension, and his cap hit for the first year is like $14 million. All right. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just plugging this in. And then Cam Bynum it's 3 years, $14 million a year. Let's say his cap hit would be like $11 million, maybe a little less. Mm-hmm. That puts us at $16 million in cap space, needing still a backup quarterback, a couple other pieces. We then wouldn't be able to afford, it looks like, a top-of-the-line $20 million trenches player. Or we could go top-of-the-line trenches player and say goodbye for sure to either Byron Murphy Jr. or Cam Bynum.
That's what I would do. I am very... Look, if Harrison Smith is coming back, which it sounds like in this particular exercise he is, Bynum's gone. I try to keep Byron Murphy Jr., but I would far prefer to go with... Like, if I'm going to spend, I want one of those interior line spends to be very significant. Mm-hmm. And I think we found a pretty good way to upgrade a guard without going the Trey Smith route. So, yes, I would go personally Milton Williams, try to keep Byron Murphy, wave goodbye to Bynum. Dex?
Let me plug this in while Dex gives his thoughts. Just see what it looks like.
I think that I just don't see a path where they're going to fix their defensive trenches and also bring back Bynum and Byron Murphy. So, and I think you got to be very careful. And look, Murphy's going to get the bag from either the Vikings or someone else, but I worry about that contract because he really only has one good year of above average play, and that scares me.
That's fair.
On Byron Murphy, you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Murphy.
a fair concern.
Yeah, so just for fun, the other cornerback options, and there's a lot of dudes out here. Some of these guys, because Byron Murphy, he turns 27, right? Yeah, he turns 27. And the other top cornerbacks, DJ Reed, 28, Charvarius Ward, 29, Rasul Douglas, 29 from Buffalo, Carlton Davis, the third, 28. I get a little nervous signing 3-year contracts with high-end 28 and 29-year-old corners, because that's a position where like your speed can drop off at 29 and you hit that cliff. Look what happened to Xavier Rhodes back in the day. So it would almost have to be like Asante Samuel Jr. coming from the Chargers at 25, going to be 26, Paulson Adebo from New Orleans broke his femur halfway through last year.
That's good.
So you'd be dealing with that.
That's painful.
Jeff Okudah was the 3rd overall pick a handful of years ago, but he's been awful.
Okay.
And then the only other option here on the board would be like Christian Fulton from former 2nd-round pick from the Titans. He was with the Chargers last year. And he's like a good, solid, above-average corner that would cost you about half as much as Byron Murphy Jr., but he might not be the player or fit the scheme the way that Byron Murphy Jr. does.
2 questions. In this cap world, if we allow Bynum to walk, what could we offer Murphy? And my second question is, if that's not a realistic option, then what's the price tag on Asante Samuel Jr., who is coming off, I think, an injury-plagued year, but is a pretty damn good player?
Yep. So we would offer Byron Murphy. We're just using the market rates, the PFF projection. So
yep. So 17.
We would give him 3 years, $17 million a year as projected. And the cap hit would be roughly $14 million in the first year, and then it would go up from there. So if we were to bring in Milton Williams at $21 million a year, you have an instant ridiculous upgrade over Jerry Tillery, Jonathan Bullard.
And now you've got interior
Harrison
pressure
Phillips.
too.
Yep, you got Harrison Phillips still playing in there.
Yep, love it.
Immediate interior pressure. Let's say Byron Murphy signs with the Raiders because they offer him $20 million a year.
Okay.
Then I'll take that off the board. Then I think you either go back to Cam Bynum and bring in a cheaper cornerback. So the other options there would be Cam Bynum. Let's plug this in. Cam Bynum at 3 years, $14 million a year. Let's call it an $11 million cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves us with $14-ish million. I think we wouldn't be able to afford like a DJ Reed or even really an Asante Samuel Jr. That would really tap us because we still have to fill out some depth here.
Okay.
But we could go get like Christian Fulton from just like a solid kind of league average, slightly above league average cornerback that maybe gets elevated in Flores' scheme.
Yep.
At like a $7 million cap hit there. And that leaves us with about $7 million in space to get a backup quarterback and some other stuff.
So personally, my preference would be to allow the safety to walk and try and get an Asante Samuel Jr.
I like that too.
I'm
just as well.
Like the safety. Bynum's really good, and the safeties are important. But I feel as if I'm going to spend. I don't consider to be safety the premium position that I do corner. So
Sure.
I'd prefer to flop my spend to the cornerback.
Okay. So just for fun here, we're going to go Asante Samuel Jr.
Let's do it.
Plug this in here. Projected 3 years, $14 million a year. He's young. He's in his mid-20s. Mm-hmm. And let's say it would be like an $11 million cap hit there. So that still leaves us with about $7 million. So here's what we've done so far. Actually, we got to take Fulton off the board. So we actually have quite a bit to play with here still, because we spent less on Samuel per the projection than we spent on Byron Murphy Jr. So we have and we haven't even tapped the Brian O'Neill contract yet. So we may be able to bring Cam Bynum back. This is interesting. Let's go backup quarterback discussion here for a minute, if we could.
Yep.
Yeah, this is good.
So we're saying goodbye to Daniel Jones.
It is. It's fun. Yep.
And we could either do the easy thing, which is Nick Mullins, come on back for $2 million.
No.
Or we could open up another enrollment spot in quarterback rehabilitation university. Mm-hmm. We could give out another scholarship to a young, formerly highly touted quarterback who's broken.
O'Connell's tearing up right now.
I present to you as backup quarterback options Zach Wilson, projected by Spotrac 1 year, $3 million, or Mac Jones, projected by Spotrac 1 year, $5 million.
Who's more of the O'Connell type, do we think? Like, because he's got particular types. He does not volunteer to save everyone. There's a skill set. There's a type. Do we think it's Mac Jones?
I think it's Mac Jones. I think
you're right. Phil?
I mean, it's so tough to tell. Zach Wilson did spend a year in Sean Payton's quarterback rehabilitation U, but he didn't really get on the field because, Bo Nix.
that's fine.
I'd love to know if Sean Payton thinks there's a there with Zach Wilson.
Well, and keep in mind too, I don't think Sean Payton and Kevin O'Connell are the same. Like, I don't think that they've got the same types when it comes to QBs. Like, I don't think O'Connell was a big Bo Nix guy, and I think Payton was. So that's why I think it sounds silly, but I think Mac Jones might actually be more like if O'Connell thinks that he can save one of those two between Wilson and Jones, I think it might be Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to like fight you to the death on this because we're talking about Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. I think Zach Wilson has more high-end athletic ability and maybe some talent there.
I do agree.
Seems like maturity-wise, he's been always like 3 years behind the curve. So, yeah, let's for fun, let's go Mac Jones as the new backup, the non-threatening backup to J.J. McCarthy. And it's a 1-year, $5 million contract. Let's just leave it at that. It'll just be a 1-year, $5 million deal on the books. Mm-hmm. And we got our backup quarterback here.
We're doing pretty well.
And about $9 million in cap space.
Okay.
So here's where we're at. We have new left guard, new right guard. Patrick Mekari, Kevin Zeitler. We have a new interior defensive pass rusher in Milton Williams to go along with the edge rushers and Harrison Phillips. Love that move.
Yep.
We lost Byron Murphy Jr. potentially to free agency, it looks like. And we signed Asante Samuel Jr. So what's our cornerback room right now? We've got Asante Samuel Jr. We've got Mekhi Blackman.
Yep.
We've got Dwight McLaughlin.
You can bring back, I think we did this last week, Shaq Griffin for cheap if you want as a safety net, as an insurance guy.
And that'd be like 1 year, $5 million. Let me plug that in here.
Yep. Yeah, if that, you're right.
Okay.
Just
for fun.
And then we're going to, and then I would think they're going to try, although they're probably at 4 draft picks. I was going to say, I would think that they would try to draft one as well.
Yep, we can definitely, we've got the draft coming up, so we can definitely aim cornerback if needed or trade back or whatever it may be.
Okay.
Do you guys want to go back and see if we can tap for some extra cap space here?
Yeah.
Just a little extra, just a little, just see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because we're sitting on, after bringing back Shaq Griffin and signing a backup quarterback, Mac Jones. And by the way, so Mac Jones is projected at $5 million a year. Nick Mullins around $2 million. So we are spending a little bit more on Mac Jones in this case.
Yeah.
But maybe there's some comp pick value on the other side if you can. I mean, Nick Mullins is who he is. He's a career backup.
Yes.
Mac Jones is trending that way, but maybe after spending a year in QB rehab, former first-round pick, you might get some value there. Mm-hmm. So while I work on a restructure of Brian O'Neill and maybe a cut of somebody else, Judd, why don't you take the audience to Padres if you could?
I'd absolutely love to, because guess what? We can sit down and have a beer, and while Phil is doing all of the math work, we're talking about football. Padres beer is the perfect thing, because you know why? Because they don't do a bunch of drinks. They don't get cute. No. They do one thing, and they do it extremely well. Beer. I've been talking about the red for a while. There's a porter, a dry stout, English IPA. I could go on. It's fantastic. I want you to sample it for yourself, though, now. 6-packs available at Lunds and Byerly's, Kowalski's, Haskell's, Hy-Vee, Total Wine, Cub, MGM. In other words, Padres available all throughout the town. It's absolutely fantastic because they do beer. They not only do beer, they do beer really well. You would give a large sum of your cap hit to Padres if it was an interior lineman.
Amen. Also, Minnesota Rusco is here. I'm already trying to convince Dex. He hasn't even stepped foot in the new house officially yet. But Minnesota Rusco is here to help make your remodel a reality. Are you looking to create another bathroom?
Yes.
Well, maybe Minnesota Rusco can help you out. Minnesota's hometown remodeler since 1955, whether it's windows, doors, siding, bathroom, kitchens, decks, roofing, they are here for you. And February is the month of love. It's the season of love. And Minnesota Rusco loves a good sale. No interest, no payments for 2 full years. And 70% off all labor on everything Minnesota Rusco has to offer. You also get a free gift box with every appointment. So if you've been putting off that remodel, talking about it, Act now, and go to minnesotarusco.com to make that remodel a reality. You can check out some of the great 5-star customer reviews too on their website and all over the internet to find out what other people are saying. Minnesota Rusco, serving Minnesotans since 1955, minnesotarusco.com. And a shout out to everyone who is watching this episode on a Roku TV. Roku has been America's #1 TV streaming platform for quite some time, offering streaming players, but now they have a new line of smart TVs made by Roku. We have one, a 65-inch Pro Series 4K TV in our living room. It's great for watching sports or binging reality TV, like the new Minneapolis edition of Love is Blind. We were watching the first handful of episodes on the Roku TV. So whether it's football or trashy TV, Roku is a great place to get your entertainment and sports fix. They will adjust picture quality depending on what it is you're watching to. Roku.com to learn more or shop at a retailer near you. Okay, boys. While we were talking about some of our great partners here, the Purple Daily capologist interns took Brian O'Neill's $17 million base salary, converted it to a signing bonus to give him. He has no guarantee money left on his contract. He has the highest cap hit on the team at $26 million. And so we took the base salary, converted it to a signing bonus, and we prorate over the last couple years of his contract, which means we save $8 million to this year's cap. I also took the liberty, and if you want to fight me on this, you can. I took the liberty of cutting C.J. Ham.
Oh, I knew this was coming.
$2.6 million. Love us some C.J. Ham. He's in his 30s. He only plays like 20% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have the 22nd highest cap hit on the team. So we saved $2.5 million or so by saying goodbye to him, which now gives us $14.6 million in 2025 cap space. I did see some emails wondering, well, why don't you guys tap the TJ Hawkins? Why don't you restructure Hawkinson, for instance? Mm-hmm. We got to be careful about pushing too much of the cap accounting into the future.
Yeah.
Some of these contracts, you're better off, like Van Ginkel, Hawkinson. I think you're better off just like taking on the $12 million and $17 million cap hits for those guys.
And it's feasible.
Totally. Like, you don't want to push all of the accounting into the future. It's a balancing act.
It's been done before.
I know.
And caused a lot of problems.
Look at the Saints right now, for instance, are a great example.
The Vikings have done it. Yep.
So what we could do is bring back Cam Bynum, because it's a 3-year, $14 million a year contract for him.
Okay.
It would be about, let's call it an $11 million cap hit.
Okay.
Which leaves us still with like $3.5 million. You want to leave some cap space in case, because there's going to be, we're not accounting for like, there's probably 2 or 3 other depth guys they need to sign.
And you want some in camp if guys get hurt and have to be replaced by the Stephon Gilmores of the world.
Yep.
Just a quick question though, before we write that in ink on Cam, is there a more effective way to use that potential cash on the free agent market, for instance? And here's one thought: to get a cheaper safety, perhaps, and then go after another depth position.
So the safety bin a little thin in free agency, but I think we did this in 1.0. We could go get like 31-year-old former high-end safety, still a quality player, Justin Simmons.
Okay.
From Atlanta, previously Denver, right?
Okay. Yep.
So he's projected at 1 year, $5 million, not a long-term solution at all at that position. But at the cornerback spots, you do feel good about Asante Samuel long-term.
Right.
Mekari Blackman potentially long-term. So we could go, let's just call it a 1 year, $5 million deal, which is what they're projecting. Okay. And then I'm going to get rid of the Bynum number here. That leaves us with just under $10 million in space. What if Cooper Kupp gets cut?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Oh.
I feel like, so...
Mm-hmm. Huh?
Speculation.
This is a conversation.
How about that?
I feel like the very top end of the Vikings wide receiver depth chart is really, really good, like among the best in the entire league. But I feel like because of that, we sort of just take for granted that the rest of that depth chart is good. And it's like, okay, it can be improved, right, Dex?
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
It can definitely be improved. So, and this also selfishly gets my guy, assuming Harrison Smith is back, Theo Jackson back in the mix.
So that's where I'm a little worried about your safety room is like 1 year left of Harrison Smith. We're assuming for this exercise he comes back, and 1 year of 31-year-old. You'd have a 31 and like a 36-year-old as your starting safeties with Theo Jackson, I guess Jay Ward
and
is
Metellus
on the
in
roster.
That room still. Like I feel pretty good about that room.
Okay.
Without Bynum, and I would be curious. I'm just saying. I think that we take for granted because of top end talent sometimes that some of these position groups are in good shape. And my thought process is, yeah, they might be in good shape, but how can we improve them?
Yeah, I feel you here. Real quick, I'm just looking up. Would you have, if we could get Cooper Kupp as the third wide receiver with our remaining cap space, would you have interest? Or are you thinking more like that's too much of a luxury? Let's go because we have 5 starting offensive linemen. We've got young depth guys.
And we've got Brandel now as a swing guy, a backup guy.
Are you thinking, okay, here's an idea. Oh, man. Javon Kinlaw. Can you put this back up real quick, Dex?
Yeah.
Javon Kinlaw, I'm going to pull up his the notes on him too. This fits the Kwesi profile of a former first-round pick who hasn't quite lived up to the billing, but still very like he had 30 and 35 pressures the last 2 years as a part-timer. You've already got Milton Williams, so it's like he's not being relied upon to be the guy. But if you wanted to create a rotation of interior defensive players that could really get after opposing centers and guards, and you had Kinlaw, Milton Williams, and Harrison Phillips as your 3 main down linemen. Wow. Now, the only thing is Brian Flores doesn't often use 3 down linemen. Maybe it's only 2, but you need a rotation of guys here.
And he uses different guys, like Dallas Turner could be incorporated. How about this one? How about the linebacker spot?
Okay, like the traditional linebacker spot?
Yes, like the two, like your two.
See, it's one of the only things we don't have on the spreadsheet of glory. So I'll pull it up off camera here, though.
Okay, cool. Because Blake Cashman's really good, but his history is injury prone, and he's not a young man by football standards.
So here are the top available linebackers. Dre Greenlaw, 27 years old. Now, he had the Achilles injury 2 Super Bowls ago.
That's right.
And then they shut him down this year. So he kind of had a lost season after being one of the top.
He came back at the end of the season, I think, and played way more. I think they incorporated him in.
Yeah, he actually only played 34 snaps in 2024. So he's hopefully healthy after a full year and a half removed from Achilles surgery. Okay. But that would be a 1 year, $6 million make good, which fits right in with the cap space we have left. And then we're getting into like Nick Bolton from the Chiefs is $15 million a year. Bobby Wagner is going to be 35. You could bring in Bobby Wagner for like $5 million if you wanted to. He was with Washington last year. Ernest Jones is going to be too rich. 3 years, $12 million a year, 25 years old from Seattle. Zach Bond, who was one of the premier Eagles free agents who helped them win the Super Bowl, has played himself into $13 million a year. Remember, we only have like 9.5 left, so we got to be careful. Right. And then there's some other guys like a 35-year-old Levante David, who's had a good career. Dude, I mean, Dre Greenlaw on a 1 year make good.
Let's do it.
That's what PFF is projecting, a 1 year, $6 million contract.
Yeah.
Football.
Potentially more depth here.
Okay, what does that look like then? So you'd have Ivan Pace and Blake Cashman, who played a bajillion snaps. You would essentially just have a 3-man rotation at those spots. Talk us through that.
Yes, and more importantly, Pace and Cashman both got hurt and missed time. And I don't think that with Pace's size and Cashman's injury history, I don't think that that we should assume that they're going to stay healthy in 2025. So if nothing else, it would give you a really good depth guy. And again, it wouldn't put the stress on him to play a million snaps, but he certainly could step in then if one of those two got hurt, which I'm going to assume will be the case for both at some point next season.
Yeah. Wow. Look at us right now. I'm going to highlight some of these other free agents green. Anyone in green here, we are signing or bringing back on the visual.
That's a pretty good class.
Go with this for the.
That's a great class.
I'm feeling pretty good about this.
So here's what we have right now. We are saying on the internal side, we are saying goodbye to Ed Ingram. I guess we're keep. I mean, Ty Chandler's on like $1 million. I guess we'll bring him into camp for now.
And then
you need some guys in camp. You can cut them in camp if you need to.
Yep.
We're saying goodbye to old CJ Ham. Throw him in red.
Poor CJ Ham.
Sorry, Siege.
He thought he made the team and he never had a chance with you two.
We're saying goodbye to Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, Nick Mullins, Byron Murphy Jr., and Cam Bynum.
Yep.
They just got rich elsewhere.
It's not ideal, but I definitely would draw some type of financial line or parameter on Byron for sure. I don't know if you guys agree, but I mean, like $20 million a year, I just don't know if I'm going to go that high for him.
And real quick, because we signed Asante Samuel Jr. He's a former second-round pick out of Florida State, just turned 25 years old in October. Mm-hmm. He suffered, what was his injury? Because he's been out since, I just want to make sure we got our due diligence on his recovery.
He got hurt early last year. I looked this up.
Yeah, it was a shoulder injury.
Okay.
It was he had like stinger symptoms and whatnot. So that's where you hope that he's healthy after a full year off, and that's why he's on a discount. But before the injury in 2022 and 2023, he was an every snap guy. He played over 2,100 snaps those 2 years combined, and was a well above average graded cornerback. Was one of the top cover cornerbacks in the NFL too. So he has been, before that shoulder injury, he's been very, very good. But anyway, so we're saying goodbye to Byron Murphy Jr., Cam Bynum, Aaron Jones, Stephon Gilmore, saying goodbye to Dalton Reisner, Patrick Jones, Jonathan Bullard, Cam Robinson, and some other depth guys. We are keeping Shaq Griffin. So it's basically going to be Shaq Griffin, Mekhi Blackman, and then Asante Samuel Jr. Maybe there's another. That's why you leave like $4 million in cap space. There might be another depth cornerback signing in there for
slot guy or something.
Purposes. Yeah. And then we're keeping Jihad Ward, Jerry Tillery for depth on the defensive line. We're keeping Cam Akers. So right now it's Cam Akers and Ty Chandler.
Hey.
But we're going to mark down running back as a draft need for sure.
Yep.
Theo Jackson to go along with the two elderly starting safeties we're going to put in there. And then we're keeping the best third tight end of the NFL, Johnny Munt, and a good solid utility wide receiver in Trent Sherfield for $1 million.
Yep.
Because we need 53 players.
I'm comfortable with all that.
Yep. And here are the external free agents we added. Right guard Kevin Zeitler, 35 years old, very high end, still can play. And if you don't like him, cool. Brandon Scherf, right? Like, let's go get one of these veterans.
Right.
Left guard Patrick Mekari, who can also play all over the offensive line as needed. Just a Swiss Army knife. Yep, 27 years old. Mm-hmm. One of the best interior pass rushers in the league, Milton Williams from Philadelphia, 26 years old. Come on down. Asante Samuel Jr., outside cornerback, charges. Mm-hmm. Just out of curiosity, too. He played almost exclusively outside. He is not much of a slot guy. That's the only thing with Byron Murphy.
Yep.
Byron Murphy played a third of his snaps in the slot. Metellus can play some slot, so you may need to find... Now Blackman can play some slot, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm a little concerned there, though. But again, if the Murphy figure goes up to 20 plus, something like that, I think you're going to probably have to swallow hard, say goodbye, and figure the slot position out.
And then we're bringing in Justin Simmons. So we're going to have two really good veteran safeties in Justin Simmons and Harrison Smith, with Theo Jackson, Jay Ward, Josh Metellus, if needed. And then Mac Jones is our backup quarterback, comes in cheaper than Daniel Jones. and Dre Greenlaw coming off basically the injury year as another linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get to the draft, how are we feeling about needs? How are we feeling about what we just did?
Feel great.
That's absurd. I mean, this would be a dream come true.
So needs are running back, most definitely still.
I would say interior offensive line, long term. We're looking at center and right guard as kind of 1 year stopgaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Corner.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Cornerback.
I'd like to draft a cornerback.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, running back, interior offensive line, cornerback. We're like pretty well set at edge. Not that you wouldn't go take best player available,
Right.
but you're sitting pretty good in those spots right now.
Right.
And then safety. I mean, I would say definitely when you have two elderly guys sitting there.
You definitely don't have the pressing needs that you have right now, both interior, offensive, and defensive line. Like that's where you feel far more secure now.
We signed four players, essentially 4 players to help with that load.
And the running back thing, as we've talked to Thor about on Thor's days, the running back thing is something that I think you can eyeball in this draft as being a guy who, as a rookie, gets a lot of work.
Yeah,
I'm comfortable with that.
Boy, this is all right. I'm gonna pop up here on the fly. I'm going to pop up the PFF mock draft simulator for you guys.
I want a mock!
So we can finish out the final phase of this offseason blueprint 4.0. Okay. And this last phase is presented by that's the wrong one. By Federated Mutual Insurance Company. So Federated's like having a Zeitler. It's like having a Mekari, a great offensive line to protect your business. They're all about risk management. They come in with a plan and tools specific to your business, your industry. You can find out more about all the tools and resources Federated has to offer over at federatedinsurance.com. You can also find out about their 100-plus year history as a company. We appreciate their support here on Purple Daily. Federated Mutual Insurance Company, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, dudes.
All right, let's go.
We'll fire up 7 rounds here. We are entering the draft picking 24th. And let's just turbo our way to the 24th pick and see if we want to accept a trade or whatnot. So just for fun, what happened at the top? Cam Ward, number 1 of the Titans. Abdul Carter to the Browns. Travis Hunter to the Giants.
Okay.
Dude, Shedeur Sanders.
Where is Shedeur Sanders? Do we miss him?
Did they adjust their algorithm?
What happened?
Did they just forget about him?
He fell to 21?
Wait, what's going on?
I kind of love it. I kind of love the randomness.
Right, but is this a... Wow, okay.
He falls to the Steelers at 21. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
So, Derek Harmon is the best player available, defensive interior monster from Oregon, who had 12 more pressures from the interior than any other interior defensive lineman last year. I know that we signed Milton Williams, but I feel like this is almost a stick and pick here, and you just keep loading up on your defensive front. Harrison Phillips is not getting any younger. I mean, we got 5. I can give you the trade offers. We got 5 trade offers here.
I prefer not to take this position now, but can we just take a peek at the running back class? I'm just curious what the class is.
You're going bells and whistles instead of meat and potatoes.
No.
You want to get your ass kicked by the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
I am looking at the potential here. I just want to see the class. I just want to see that. Okay, so Thor's guy Caleb Johnson is there. He's ranked 59th. That's not bad.
Oh, Cam Scadaboo from Arizona State could be your short yardage pounder.
If you think that we should that we cannot pass up a player because of talent, despite the fact that we just signed a guy who plays a similar spot, then I am all for taking the BPA.
So here's the teams that want to trade up to 24. Lions at 28, Chiefs at 31, and then it's like Cardinals at 47, Dolphins 48, Steelers 53. That feels like a 2022 mistake. Or now you're like, it'd be nice to pick up some extra picks.
You've dropped. Yep. Yep.
So the problem here is let's say we move back, the Lions want to trade again here. Let's say you move back to 28. What can you get? Can you get their 60? No. Their 132? Yes. We could get the 132 and the 194. We move back 4 spots, pick up 2 extra picks in the middle to late stages of the draft, but we probably then don't get Derek Harmon from
That's
Oregon.
my question. What's the talent there versus the trade potential?
Dude, he's a 6'5", 310-pound monster.
And if Detroit's going to take him,
I think we have to take Harmon.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. I am not automatically afraid of trading with a division foe, but I also don't want to give them a guy who's going to spend the next 8 years making my quarterback's life hell.
Yeah, I think we stick and pick here. I think we stick and pick.
Let's do
All
it.
right,
Let's do it.
do it, man. Derek Harmon. Listen, we made a point going into this thing. I'm just going to pause it here too because we may trade up. Let's get our next pick is 97. Let's pause it right here. 10 picks away. All right, we'll come back to this. There's Devin Neal, by the way, right in front of us to the Chargers. Thor's guy running back from Kansas. But on Derek Harmon, real quick, he is one of the top 2 or 3 interior defensive linemen in the entire draft in a very rich interior defensive lineman draft. Mm-hmm. We went into this offseason thinking universally we have to improve trenches on both sides. Have to. So to come away with, in free agency, Milton Williams at 26 years old and Derek Harmon from Oregon
Yeah, man.
and Grenard under contract on the edge and Dallas Turner.
We're better. We're better today. We're better than we were on the last day of the 2024 season. So, yes. You don't have to convince me.
Got to do it.
All right, let's just resume here. We'll get to 97. We're probably more likely to trade back here at this point. So we're sitting on the clock. We got 2 trade offers. Browns at 102, Seahawks at 136. You want to see the running backs?
I'd like to look at the running backs.
Oh, there's Thor's guy, R.J. Harvey from Central Florida.
And it's not much of a reach, right? We're at 97. No. He's at 103. Thor likes him a lot.
Yeah,
I would
5'9", 5'10".
I would be inclined to solve. I'd be inclined if we all are on the same page and trust Thor's day that this would be a good pick here.
Yeah. It'd be nice to trade back at some point and get some extra picks, but
I feel like that would be your first round pick though, and we're all in now on the trenches, which I don't disagree with.
All right, we're sticking and picking Derek Harvey. Oh, they finally took the 239 away from the Vikings.
Well, it's about time.
All right, so we're the first pick in the 5th round here, the 139.
Jacksonville.
We have 1 trade offer from the Patriots moving back 5 picks. This might be a spot where it makes sense to move back.
Sure.
So we'll take the 144. And can we get their 218? Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think.
that.
Yep, they accepted it. Okay, cool. Nice.
Okay.
Thank you, Elliot Wolf.
All right, we're back on the clock with the 144. Positions of need are secondary and interior offensive line for us.
Okay.
Or another running back if you want to get frisky.
Or the wide receiver class.
So here's the best players available. We got a couple quarterbacks in Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers. We got some running backs are going to pop up here, but Billy Bowman Jr., the Oklahoma safety. Kobe Hudson, UCF wide receiver. We don't know enough about these guys to do a dissection.
The Bowman one is about spot on as far as, I mean, he's 142. We're at 144.
Yeah. Let's pick up a safety. We do need to get younger in that room, 100%. So,
you don't like
all
the
right, we'll
beards.
take old Billy Bowman.
Age discrimination.
Safety.
All right.
Okay, we're back on the clock with the 160 here. So, again, we're looking for probably interior offensive line, maybe a cornerback, but also whatever. Oh, a Trevor Etienne, halfback Georgia, chilling right there.
Yeah, we'd be putting a dagger in the Ty Chandler ear if we pull that bullet.
Darn.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I was going to say, I think it's going to happen anyway, so that's an interesting one.
So we'd have Etienne and R.J. Harvey, along with Cam Akers, would be our running back room.
Yep. And now
I
if
don't hate
Cam
that.
gets hurt again, we're not. It's like, okay.
And then there's a couple meat and potatoes guys in here. I know Thor loves Cody Lindenberg, the linebacker from Minnesota.
Yep.
I'm inclined to go running back again here, boys. Oh,
Okay.
maybe
Take
I'm
a
crazy.
quick look, if you'd be so kind to pull a page from Thor's book. Take a look at the wide receiver position.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, I'd be curious. Okay, so that's way up. That's pretty far off. Yep.
Yep.
Let's go running back.
All right. Are we making a mistake? I don't know, but it's fun. We have 2 running backs. Here we go. Trevor Etienne, Bloodlines. And then with the 218, our last remaining pick. Oh, look at Max Brosmer. He's sitting right there.
Don't you do it.
That's nice.
Graham Mertz, God, does he fall from grace? He was supposed to be good.
I'm going to pull up interior offensive line and wide receiver.
All right.
Okay.
And maybe cornerback.
Oh,
Just
I
for
just
fun,
saw something
just to see.
that intrigued me at wide receiver. Look at Samuel Brown.
Yeah, you watched a lot of Samuel Brown games this season?
Look at where he's from the U, first of all. And second of all, look at where his ranking is compared to where the Vikings are at.
Yeah, so you're looking at value here. He's the 217th player on the board.
I'm a value guy.
They're at 218. He's the value pick here. So Samuel
I'm a value
Brown,
person, damn it.
At Miami last year with Cam Ward, he caught 36 passes for 509 yards, a couple of tuds. Size-wise, he is 6'2", 195, so pretty big-bodied wide receiver, at least lanky.
Lanky, yeah.
Wide receiver.
Or do you want to go interior?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think
I'm fine with whatever.
I think we would feel
here.
bad if we didn't draft some sort of interior offensive lineman in this entire process. There's a dude from North Carolina State and a dude from Georgia here.
Timmy McKay.
Old Timothy McKay.
I call him
But they also like Walter Rouse and they like Michael Juergens and
yeah, I was going to say they've got some depth there. So let's just go with
we'll go Sam. We'll go get your guy Samuel Brown here.
Sammy Brown.
You watched all of his snaps and
Big time.
I'm still I'm halfway through his snaps. I'm dissecting.
Oh.
The report is in progress. Still writing it up.
I'm gonna download this image here for you too, Dex. We'll save that for later. Okay. Here's what they give us.
A, B plus.
An
B
A
minus.
minus.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
small draft, but that's a very well graded draft.
Derek Harmon was an A. They love the
Nice.
Trevor Etienne pick there in the 5th round. That was
Value.
an A.
Yeah, you got value.
So we wind up there it is. That's our draft. We wind up remaking our entire defensive front in free agency and the draft. We wind up remaking both guard positions in free agency. We wind up with 2 running backs in the draft to go along with Cam Akers to get younger at that position. And we said goodbye to Byron Murphy Jr. and Cam Bynum in favor of Asante Samuel.
Yep. Didn't love
Justin Simmons as a stopgap, and then Billy Bowman Jr. safety to go along with Theo Jack. He can compete. Hey, dog eat dog in that second unit between Jay Ward and Billy Bowman and Theo Jackson. I kind of love this.
The one move that strikes me as being difficult is the Byron Murphy Jr. departure, but we base that on the financials.
Yeah.
The Bynum thing, I don't like. I'm very intrigued by doing a two for one. Okay, he leaves, he makes a lot for a safety, but now I can plug in 2 guys there. That intrigues me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Dex, your thoughts? Your gut feeling?
I mean, I feel like we just slayed this entire free agency process. I mean, even though I would love a long-term solution, and I don't mind overpaying for the top of the market guards, I think you still improved your offensive line interior-wise.
Oh, yeah.
And you also figured out what you want to do defensively on your defensive line, so you can try to at least build up those monster trenches on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And to be honest, I like Asante Samuel. In fact, I'd rather give Asante Samuel that contract and give a Byron Murphy his projected contract. I think I lean that way.
It's kind of amazing too when you give a little bit less to Samuel, you give less to Mac Jones instead of what's his name, Daniel Jones, and you don't bring back Aaron Jones. That all adds up to like another good player, a Patrick Mekari or somebody that you otherwise wouldn't have been able.
and that one, Dex, is a substantial upgrade too. So that guard, it's what, a 27-year-old versatile guard. That's a great get.
Yep. just for fun here, and I know we got to say goodbye because we're going to record our statements and questions on Mackie and Judd. But Patrick Mekari, 6'4", 305. This will be his 7th year in the league. He's been with Baltimore. Now it might be a little bit of a different. This is where schematically it's like, okay, smart people have to determine, can he play in a little bit of a different offensive scheme?
Right.
But he has been, as a pass protector, he has been graded well above average at different positions. He played 955 snaps at left guard last year. He played left tackle, right tackle the year before that. Left tackle in 2022 for a third of the season. Yep. He started at right guard in 2020 for stretches. So he's even played 900 snaps at center in his career in his first and second year in the NFL. He came in basically as a center.
Crack the champagne.
Let's go.
Call the press conference. Crack the champagne.
Love it. All right. So let us know what you think in the Purple Daily YouTube comment section. Did we slay this? Are we getting fired?
As long as Bradbury's there, you guys suck.
Yeah, let us know, and we'll get. And we're always checking the email inbox, the feedback tab, and the Score North app for Feedback Friday too. So we'll come back to your comments on this. This was Offseason Blueprint 4.0 Purple Daily. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.